the Cardinals lose 2 games in a row, all of a sudden, we could have like a 3-way tie for first. I mean, I know it's all speculation right now, but I think that it's really a 3-team race with the Niners a little ways down.
Yeah, a little ways. Yeah, just a little. I really thought Seattle or St. Louis, was going to pull off that win in Minnesota yesterday when they tied it up and went to overtime. I really did. I thought, man, they're for real. I mean, they've got enough offense with Todd Gurley and Nick Foles directing, not trying to overdo too much, and then that defense just smacks you in the mouth.
They kind of look a lot like the Seahawks, really.
Yeah.
I mean, would they depend on their running game right now, and then just enough passing and a great defense. That's been the Seahawks' blueprint. That's how the Rams are doing.
It's Pete Carroll and Jeff Fisher, and that's been their blueprint forever. When they,
too bad we don't still have Russ on the phone. Who do you start, Marshawn Lynch or Todd Gurley? What if you had to make that decision? What would you do?
I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, you'd think before the season. I mean, Lynch, no question. Gurley has gone off.
Yeah. It's going to be a great week. I think this is so fun for Cardinal fans to have at Seattle on Sunday night and then come back the next week and play Cincy on Sunday night at home. Mm-hmm. I mean, how do you ask for anything better as a Cardinals fan?
Yeah. It is crazy, too, because the Cardinal fans have been given a gift. It's, all 3 of the next games are primetime?
Oh, yeah.
Thursday night against the Vikings, which, we were talking, again, looked like an easy game going into the season. All of a sudden, that looks like a marquee matchup, too.
Yeah. Yeah, you look at this, it's at Seattle, then Cincy at home, then at San Francisco, at St. Louis.
That's tough.
And then that next home game is that Thursday night against the Vikings on December 10th. This is not an easy, you mentioned it earlier in the show, this is not an easy second half schedule.
You know what's crazy, though, as I'm looking at this here, I think the Cardinals' last Sunday afternoon game at home was against the Rams. Yeah, they got the Ravens on Monday night, Bengals on Sunday night, Vikings on Thursday night. They don't have another Sunday afternoon game until Green Bay in Week 16. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Assuming that doesn't go to Sunday night as well.
Yeah. No, that's true. It could. And they have to go to Philadelphia late, and that's December 20th in Philly.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, is it 6 feet of snow? Is it?
And the Eagles they're figuring out things on offense. So.
Yeah.
I mean, this Sunday, guys, I feel like the upside so much outweighs the downside is that before this season, which ones did you circle as losses? At Seattle, we circled that 100%.
Absolutely.
So it's almost like they are expected to lose in Seattle, but if they win, my goodness, 7-2 with win over Seattle, you are in the driver's seat in the division, and it's looking so much better in 1 week.
And here's where we were last year. We were 9-1, and we've been here. And I think for Cardinal fans who have been in this chair just a year ago, we're going cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Because we could move to 7-2. Is Carson going to stay healthy? Is Larry Fitzgerald staying healthy? Is Michael Floyd? It's just that there's such a small margin, between success and failure. And injuries are huge.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Cardinals' whole season has an asterisk next to it, and that is if Palmer stays healthy.
Oh
yeah.
You could go Palmer. You can say Chris. You could say Fitz.
Yeah.
All those guys, they have to stay healthy the second half of the season. Can you imagine, even if one of those guys were banged up this first half, what their record would be halfway point?
Unbelievable.
Especially Carson.
It's scary. And like you said, you look at these teams with the defense. I mean, the Seahawks play great defense. The Bengals are playing good defense. The Rams obviously smack you in the mouth. The Vikings are playing better.
The Broncos defense.
Yeah.
Just pulled a 180 from the last couple of years.
Yeah. So it's just not an easy schedule ahead. But like I say, cautiously optimistic. We'll see it as it unfolds. It's going to be fun to watch. But right now, it's all the focus is coming off the bye week. Good and bad, right? Mm-hmm. Some people love bye weeks because it gets you healthy. Some people hate them because now you've gone for a week and a half without playing.
One great thing about the second half of the season is it's going to answer the most popular question when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals. Who have they played?
Right?
Yeah, they're great right now, but who have they played? Like we said, all teams with losing records. They can really shut up some critics. Second half of the season.
I think to be huge for the Cardinals is if Alex Okafor returns, and they need that pass rusher.
Which is expected to, right?
Right. And Russell Wilson has been sacked more than any other quarterback this season, and to add that pass rusher and to make the Seahawks even that more one-dimensional with the running game and make them depend on it that much more. I think having Okafor back could be crucial for the Cardinals.
Isn't that interesting that Coach Arians actually called out Calais Campbell a couple of weeks ago?
That was crazy.
Saying that guy who's a Pro Bowl player last year should be putting more pressure on quarterbacks. And now you're saying, here sitting next to me saying, we need Alex Okafor back, even though we have Calais Campbell.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Okafor led the team in sacks last year.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, it's like here we've got Calais who just hasn't been able to put any pressure on him.
And it was funny hearing Calais respond to Arians' comments saying, yeah, I do need to play better.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect him to respond any other way. Calais Campbell is such, he's a team first guy.
Great guy.
He absolutely is. You mentioned all of the Cardinals' weapons heading into Sunday night. Do you think, because obviously if you go Marshawn Lynch versus Chris Johnson, probably go Lynch, right?
I'd take Marshawn Lynch.
You give the edge.
I would.
But you got a running back by committee versus Marshawn Lynch. Does that favor the Cardinals at all? Like you said, giving them different looks.
Well, they have the potential to give them different. It hasn't really been by committee, though. I mean, it can be. That's what I'm saying. Is it if Chris Johnson's ineffective, or if Arians just wants to change it up a little bit? He's got those options. He's got Andre Ellington, who can make people miss, outside of the tackles, and they have David Johnson who can go up the middle. So, and they can all catch the ball too, which I love. You can interchange any of those running backs; they can all catch the ball out of the backfield. So I think it's just a nice luxury to have.
We've all seen that 75-yard Marshawn Lynch run against the Cardinals last year in Glendale,
where the seismographs went up
a million times. This is the one last year here, though.
It was last year,
not in Seattle.
It probably did last year too.
75 yards against the Cardinals in Glendale. University grab his crotch as he's jumping backwards into the end zone. We've seen it a million times, and I'm just saying now, we don't want to see it again.
No.
And I know in Seattle, the seismographs went off, and it's, it was the largest earthquake they've had in the last 2 years or something, with the fans growing in that stadium.
I'm begging the Cards to prevent another crotch grab.
We don't want to see it.
Night.
Yeah, we don't want to see it.
Especially on prime time. Come on.
Right.
We don't want to see that.
And we've had to watch that one here over and over and over again, and it's like, come on, It's like, stop him. And that's why I say, even though the Cardinals have running back by committee potentially, I'd take Marshawn Lynch in a heartbeat. Sure. It's just that good.
Rushing game versus rushing game.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that's what the game's going to come down to.
And it's a division opponent.
Well, the Cardinals don't need to have a better rushing game. They just need to have balance. Right. They just need to have a respectable running game, which they have, at least as of now, going into Seattle. And if they can do that, and they can just keep the Seahawks guessing, you have to keep at least a little bit off balance if you want a chance.
The good news is they came out of that the Cardinals came off that Cleveland Browns game a couple of weeks ago, and Carson said afterwards he's never had a coach from back in Pee Wee football call a better game than Bruce Arians did that week. Now, it was the Browns, so we're not going to overflow with flowery praise on that one. But Carson said Coach was just right on with his play calls. That builds confidence in the team and in Carson and the offense. So if Coach can do the same thing against the Seahawks Sunday night, you got a shot.
And talk about a personal game for Bruce Arians. Him and Pete. No, I'm kidding. Hasn't that been every single week?
Yeah,
Bruce Arians is bringing his best this week.
He's got this against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's got this against Cleveland.
Yeah. It's like that scene in Dodgeball. I talked to Arians before the game, and he said he really wants to win this one. You want to win all of them.
Yeah,
exactly. This is really near and dear. Yeah, but that, and we talked to John Fooey up there. He talked about that Harbaugh Pete Carroll battle
that was
for years.
Fun to watch.
Even going back to Stanford and USC, and it moved forward in the NFL. This really isn't a Pete Carroll, Bruce Arians thing.
It could be. Eventually, it could be.
I just don't. Those two guys are so nice. I just don't see it.
Can you imagine Bruce Arians asking Pete Carroll, "What's your deal?" at the end of the game?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, it's just those two guys are just likable, nice guys.
But it is funny you guys talked about it with John. I mean, it really could be the new rivalry because I don't see the Niners getting better in a hurry by any means.
No. It's a rivalry for us. I mean, this is a rivalry for Cardinal fans because
it's a rivalry you want.
Yeah, because if you don't beat Seattle, you're nobody, right? If you can't go and beat Seattle, but for the Seahawks, is it are they looking more seriously at the Cardinals? Maybe. As John said, maybe they are this year.
Yeah.
So, how about some predictions?
Oh, it's
what do you
time
think this week.
It is time.
John came up with 17-14 Seahawks. Let's go this way. Let's start with you.
All right. Like I said, it's going to come down to the run game.
Yeah.
Especially with the Legion of Boom cutting down the Cards passing game. Just predicting that. It's not a huge prediction. 21-17, Hawks win.
Hawks, huh?
It's my first prediction of the Cards loss. Sorry, guys. It's not personal. It's just.
That's not. I mean, listen. The way these two teams play, the defenses are solid on both sides. The offense, the Cardinals have an opportunity, but as Russ Bliss told us, the Seahawks are number one fantasy defense against wide receivers. They're shutting people down.
So I think that passing game will get shut down.
To me, I guess to me it's going to come down to the rain and the weather.
Yeah.
What's the weather like for the Cardinals? Because they just haven't played well in cold, wet weather. Mm-hmm. And if it's in the mid-40s on Sunday night and the rain's kind of drizzling down, I'm gonna go Hawks to this one too. But I think it's going to be more like 24. I'm going to say 24-17 maybe.
Solid.
Because I just think it's going to be that kind of a battle. And
was that yours?
No, we're just all very, very similar.
Yeah.
I just don't know if the Seahawks can score 24 points, but maybe they can.
Well, maybe on defense. Yeah. The thing that this leaves a bad taste in my mouth is the Cardinals' struggles against the Rams.
Right.
And we just talked about how the Seahawks and Rams are very similar.
They
beat you the same kind of ways.
Yep.
And to me, if the Cardinals can't beat the Rams at home, what makes you think they're going to go and beat Seattle on the road? They absolutely can.
Oh yeah.
And they should have.
It's tough because I've been a Cardinals fan my whole life, and I'm trying to be objective, so I don't want to overcompensate. But I just got to think that in Seattle, with a team similar to the Rams that the Cardinals had trouble with, I got to go with the Seahawks until proven otherwise.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go Cards.
I really want to. I really want to be the
hate mail
eternal
begin.
optimist.
Yeah, I want to be the guy who goes against all of your predictions and look like I know something more than you guys do. But
you very well could.
It's going to be a similar score. I'm going to go 23-20 Seattle.
Okay. So I gotta dig in my closet, potentially find something blue, don't I, for next Monday?
Man, I sure hope you don't have to.
Let the hate mail begin, because we've all gone Seattle here.
Let's be honest. I hope we're all wrong, right?
No, and we could be. I mean, here's an interesting point too.
Easily.
Does Richard Sherman have an interception this year?
Oh, that's one thing we didn't talk about. The Seahawks have, I think, 3 interceptions as a team.
That's it.
They've only allowed, I think, 6 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
So they haven't allowed a lot of yards, but they haven't gotten the turnovers. They're actually -2, if I remember right, on giveaway takeaway. So that's interesting as well. So the turnover battles flips, the game flips just like that.
Right. And I don't know that we should ask John when he's there. I don't think Richard Sherman has an interception. And everybody's
He still played some pretty good defense.
Yeah.
Well, and what happens is when you line him up against your star receiver, you're basically, it's his presence is taking their main receiver out of the game, so a lot of quarterbacks probably won't even look his way.
And as Russ Bliss said, you put Richard Sherman on Larry Fitzgerald this week.
I agree.
Yeah.
Which is what they've done in the past. I mean, that's sort of their MO.
Yeah, that'll be a fun battle to watch, man. There's several battles to keep an eye on Sunday night.
I wish I wasn't a Cardinals fan and I could be just objective. I could just sit back and enjoy this game without a rooting interest, because it should be a fantastic game.
What's interesting with the second half of the season is the Cardinals start in Seattle on the second half of the season, and they wrap up the season with Seattle at home. But it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the NFL is the great schedulers, but it doesn't get any better than that.
They want a chance to prove that they're the new kings of the NFC. They're going to have chances to prove not only against the Seahawks, but against the Packers as well. They're going to have that opportunity.
Again, that upside far outweighs, I mean, if they can pull off a win in Seattle, gosh, they'll just put them in such a great position and silence a lot of the critics. Like, wow. I mean, in one game, they could have the critics say the Cardinals are legit contenders now.
In a lot of ways, I wish it was an afternoon game in Seattle, because that late night start, the 6:30 start in Seattle, concerns me, because now you fly up there Saturday, you have to wait all day Sunday and watch the other games, and it's just not the same routine, and that concerns me.
I actually hope they put them in a hotel the entire week. It'd be nice, kind of like the Greenbrier.
As long as it's not haunted,
Greenbrier.
it'll be fine.
I don't think there's any haunted. Well, there might be some haunted hotels in Seattle. Well, good stuff. I mean, this is going to be an interesting week. We've waited a week and a half to get back into game mode now. It's like, okay, they beat the Browns on the road, but now we got to get back to business, and it's against Seattle.
It's been a brutal wait, but Sunday night, it's all going to pay off.
Yeah, last second thoughts here?
No, I just, like I said, as a fan, I kind of dread this kind of game, but the payoffs could be huge. But just as an impartial observer, this is going to be a fantastic matchup. I'm excited about it.
Last thoughts? Go Cards.
Go Cards. There you go. Hey, thanks for joining us on Cards Countdown. We appreciate it. It's Week 9. The Arizona Cardinals sitting at 6-2.